in chapters 2 through 4, you build a very careful case explaining that the shaman then in history goes from the esoteric fringe character on the outskirts of the city to a sage, to a guide, a philosopher. And so,
who's also outside the city with his sect, his little monastery of secret disciples.
And so this kind of goes up against some of our long-standing narratives around classical Greece and shows that maybe some of them are misguided or backwards. You write a lot about semi-historical figures such as Dionysus, Orpheus, Pythagoras, and how these figures really took on these shamanistic teachings, practices, and habits into their own writings and philosophy.
They transformed it into philosophy.
Yeah. So when I read the book, I get the sense that the classical Greek philosophers, some that I mentioned, even Plato himself, it's not this austere, rational order that they're representatives of. It seems like, they're looking for an ecstatic experience, as anyone today would when they go to a rave or underground punk rock show. And it seems like that kind of edgy and wild, which is not the picture we normally have. So it can, share more about like the shaman and the philosopher.
You go in so many different directions, but you mentioned Dionysus. So Dionysus and Apollo were half-brothers. And at the Temple of Delphi, Apollo ruled most of the year. But then he would go on vacation to the north, which is where the shaman comes from, and his wild brother Dionysus would take over. Apollo's the god of order and rationality and so forth. Dionysus is the god of wine, and he's the party god.
Sure.
And he's pretty nasty. And he's also the patron of theater. And so what happens is you have the Eleusinian mysteries. These were, again, private, not public religion, private. You go to, it was called the it's called the telesterion. And it's like a theater, a huge theater. And they would have an orchestra in the middle. We get the word orchestra from this Eleusinian mystery. And I could go through all the rites and everything. It's fascinating. If you revealed the rites, then you were executed.
So it was that secret.
That secret. All of the major philosophers, classical philosophers, were part of the Eleusinian mysteries. And you go down into death, discover who you are, and then come back, and now you really know yourself, right? The Delphic oracle. Socrates, know yourself. That's the key. That's from the Eleusinian mysteries. Know yourself. So you go down into Hades in this sort of Disneyland-like cruise. You go down into Hades and you come back out again, this great theatrical event. And people came out saying that they were changed forever. They'll never be the same again. That experience is what Plato describes as the ascent of the soul to God. Dionysus,
the very ecstatic,
is
frenzied.
He's the god of frenzy.
Yeah.
He stings his votaries with
madness.
And there have been all kinds of hypotheses about
are they on
what
something?
Was in that needle.
Sure, yeah.
But anyway, the god of frenzy, and so Plato says explicitly, going through he says, the god Dionysus gives us the next to highest of all philosophy, frenzy.
Wow.
And he calls it divine madness. You can go only so far with prophecy, he said, with Homer and so forth. And he's really critical of Homer. You can go so far with magic. You can go only so far with these other things. But the greatest gift of the gods, short of love, the greatest gift of the gods is what Dionysus gives us, which is divine frenzy. That's the founder of the Greek Enlightenment speaking.
Yeah.
And ever since, we've been talking like that. Ever since, we have been, in the West, part zany, part rationalist.
Yeah.
We're schizophrenic. We like to play around with the, button up and go to work and do our thing, but at night we want to party.
Yeah.
And that's, two brothers who didn't quite get along with each other all the time.
Wow.
Apollo and Dionysus. It's very deep in our psyche.